Hey there, if you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment to leave a review and to follow or subscribe. Don't forget to share with anybody that you think might be interested. Your support is greatly appreciated. Word of mouth is incredibly powerful, and it's the best way for us to reach more people and grow this wonderful community. Thanks again for listening. Hey there. So they say that we teach what we most need to learn. It's an interesting saying, but you know what? It's really true. And it got me thinking today. And I kind of want to model this in real time. So I literally just came in off the lake, and even in the time between, getting out of my bathing suit and into the shower and over here to my microphone, I was already feeling the noise of my brain saying, you're going to lose what you were thinking about. You're going to lose what you were thinking about. And it's so interesting because, well, what we're thinking about changes all the time and develops and grows. So trying to hold on to the exact thing and capture it, it's a little bit attached, quite frankly. There've been those moments where you say, oh man, I wish I had my camera, or, whatever it might be. And so I'm leaning into the idea that something was conjuring while I was on the lake. And I felt it, and I felt the muse calling me. And I felt that there was a learning opportunity for me, as well as potentially for you. And again, that's the spirit in which I do this. Let me try to be clear here. I am a verbal processor, so that's kind of what you're getting a little bit of. And again, this is an honest, raw episode. There's a massive limiting belief that we all hold from time to time, some of us more than others, that, if we're not working, we're doing something that is its opposite. And it's kind of a weird thing because I don't consider what I do work, first of all. So that word alone is a little bit, it's not a good fit. And embracing the idea that things happen, creativity is stimulated when you're living, not when you're sitting at the blank page. And I've experienced this time and time and time again. And it's interesting because when I talk about the places where there are spaces or a gap, if you want, the space between the physical, literal space between when I stepped off my kayak and where I am right now on my microphone, all sorts of things happened in all sorts of other, I don't want to say, universes, but honestly, it could have gone in so many directions. In fact, I passed through my kitchen and I was going to have lunch first because I have a session in about 45 minutes. And then the little brain in my head kept saying, or a part of my brain kept saying to me, why don't you go upstairs and just kind of lay something down? So that's what I'm doing. I followed that intuition. And I won't finish it now, because, well, there are true time constraints around this, but maybe I've just captured something in this moment. Interesting. I'm going to pause there. And again, this is about process. So it's a few days later now, and I'm back, and I'm in a different headspace. And in many ways, I am a completely different person. We aren't that much different from all the organic things around us, like grass and trees and birds and flowers that seem to grow when we aren't looking. It's a lesson from nature that slow growth is almost invisible. But nature doesn't get frustrated when it doesn't see the results quickly enough. That's where we differ. It's not that anything has drastically changed since I recorded the first part of this passage only 3 or 4 days ago, only that I have lived and experienced more things. When we acknowledge that the only constant is change, we are more easily able to ebb and flow and not spend any time worrying about it or comparing our current performance against what we did before. When I listened back just now to what I recorded those 4 days ago, my initial impulse was to continue where I left off. But what I had recorded was the product of my energy at that time. If I choose to live in the moment right now, I'm in a place where there is a space and an invitation to approach this in a way that is more aligned with where I am at energetically right now. So instead of free thinking, I'm writing this before I record. 2 things stood out from the first part when I listened to it. One is the amount of times that I had said, I feel or I felt. And I'm noticing that in this moment, I'm more in my cerebral place than tapped into my intuitive space, although I acknowledge that they are both there within me at all times. And depending on the context, well, they'll take turns leading. So my intuition says, yes, go ahead and write rather than improvise right now. So you see, they can work together and support each other. The other thing that stuck with me about the first part is how I reminded myself that this is a process. Process, or process for my Canadian friends, is defined in the Cambridge Dictionary as a series of actions or events performed to make something or achieve a particular result, aka write, record, share. Or it also defines it as a series of changes that happen naturally. A paradox. You gotta love how life imitates art. Friends, thank you for listening today. I hope that hearing about my process resonated with you and that you will connect and apply whatever insights you may have gleaned to grow and learn and cultivate your own unlimited creative capacity. My muse has brought me 2 thoughts to ponder before I sign off. It was the Roman philosopher Seneca who coined that phrase, while we teach, we learn. And it was Jonathan Livingston Seagull author Richard Bach who said, we teach best what we most need to learn. I'm Lisa Hopkins. Thanks so much for listening. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. And remember to live in the moment.